like webinar type stuff. And
hello, everyone. This is to our YouTube group, guys. Everybody that follows me on basically live in the Indiana, Kentucky area. I got a special guest today, and her name is Cherie Harrington. Welcome to our area of the world in YouTube and living in Indiana. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I'm super excited about this.
So a little introduction. We obviously work together and know each other as referral agents. It kind of, I don't know how we hooked up. I don't remember.
I don't either.
I think it was around, she has a Facebook group for everybody that is in California for it that hits my channel, for example. It's Leaving California, and it's really a group for people to ask questions, get information if they are leaving, where areas they can look outside of California to relocate. And maybe that's how we hooked up. But either way, we have hooked up, and we do act as referral agents across Indiana and Kentucky to California. So give us a little information about you, where you're from, how long you've been in real estate, all that great stuff.
Okay, so I am from upstate New York originally. I've been in the San Diego area, or in San Diego County, for, oh my God, since 1986. So that kind of dates me a little bit, a long time. Love California. I would never move back to where it's cold again. It's the weather is amazing here. I had a corporate job for 31 years. I ran the franchise department for Domino's Pizza out of their headquarters in Michigan. And then I got my real estate license about 21 years ago. My mom was a broker for 40 years in New York, and I kind of saw what she was doing, loved that she was helping people. And I kind of thought real estate would be my old lady job, and I'll just retire and do
old
real
lady
estate
job. That happens.
Not realizing how much work real estate is. So I left my corporate job about 8 years ago to do this full time, and I absolutely love it. I feel like my corporate background really translated over well as far as like effective communication, negotiation, following up with people, things like that you don't think about. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm excited.
Well, very cool. You know, we have very similar backgrounds. I was in corporate for 10 years as well as an engineer. So
Nice.
I agree. It does help when you come from that kind of background into real estate, and definitely supporting the clients and negotiations and all that good stuff. So, well, great. I appreciate you joining us. So what we're going to talk about, everybody, obviously we're local realtors. She's in California. I am in Indiana, Kentucky. And we are going to talk about the differences between California, specifically more your area, correct? But I'm sure you could take it across the board a little bit.
Yeah.
And then me, generically Indiana, Kentucky, but I am Southern Indiana as well. So we're both in the south part of our states. So we're going to compare. And I thought I would ask you the questions because you do have Leaving California. What are like the top reasons you are hearing of why people are leaving? Because we have a lot of people that relocate here from we get Chicago, but we also get California.
Yeah.
Those are our biggest influx, those two areas.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm seeing, the main reasons people are leaving is cost of living. The housing here is extremely expensive compared to the rest of the country. Politics for a lot of people, job relocations, maybe they're trying to move back they're retiring or trying to move back to family. A lot of people that are retiring are taking the cash out of their California homes and then moving somewhere and paying cash there. So seeing a lot of that. There are a lot of Leaving California pages. There was one really big one that had over 100,000 people in it. So I was a part of that to begin with. And even though I saw a lot of just general complaining in there, I saw that there was a need for people that really needed help. They didn't understand, like, should I sell my house first, or should I keep it and rent it and then move? What do I do with my job situation, healthcare, that kind of stuff. So I just created my own, and it exploded fairly quickly. I had to kind of tap the brakes about 6 months because it was just out of control. So I'm just kind of limiting who I'm letting in now, but I think we have about 9,400 people in there, and we're actually closing one in Florida today.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Yeah, and then that man is selling his home in Yuba City, Marysville area of California. So we're getting a lot of action on there and able to help people. And I absolutely love just being able to counsel them on the best way to leave the state, or even decide if they really want to leave, or if maybe they're just
Yeah, I mean, some people may think they want to leave, and then they get feedback from people that did leave that are on that Facebook group, and
yeah,
giving them truth about areas they ended up in, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
So
that's
it's a great site or a page, whatever you
yeah.
call it these days. And I like to scroll through it just to see, why people do what they do and why they're leaving states. So let's tackle the first one. And I think what most people would think is people leave California because of cost. It is an expensive state
It is.
from various things. And us as realtors, we can talk about housing all day long. And I think we should start there. So I think to compare everybody, just to show you how different it is and why I do see, and I see more of the retirees here where I live coming from California, probably what is, compared to other states, maybe people may go to. I feel like I get the retirees out of California more. And the main thing that I see is that they are cashing out and coming here because it's affordable to live. Plus, they have extra money to continue to live beyond that purchase of the home. So what is the average price, California, your area, whatever you want to use? I mean, I'm sure it's still going to be a lot higher than me.
Yeah, so San Diego, I live in Carlsbad, which is in San Diego County. So San Diego County, for last year, so 2024 over 2023, still prices are rising. It was up almost 7%, and the average single family home price hit just $1 million. So for the county, that is a big deal because we have a very wide variety of little towns that are within San Diego County. So with Carlsbad, that's North County, San Diego. And I would say from like La Jolla north up the coast is probably the most expensive area of San Diego. And my particular zip code, 92009, which is South Carlsbad, the median price was almost 2 million last year. So
wow,
big fluctuation. We do have a lot of condos in South Carlsbad around a couple of golf courses, and those condos are, you're getting a 2-bedroom 900 square foot condo for almost $1 million now in my zip code. And then like a family size house, I would say, for lack of a better term, so like a 4-bedroom 3-bath 3,500 square foot house, at least 2 million, from 2 to 3 million.
And
so
how big is that yard, may I ask?
Well, not very big. So our yard is one of the bigger ones. Like in our community, we have about a quarter of an acre. Most of them are going to be like 6,000 to 7,000 square feet. So they're not very big. And if you can try to jam a pool in, but that's about it. It's just a backyard. So nothing on acreage for sure. But it's gotten very expensive. And I personally expected when the interest rates went up that we would at least level off, and it has not leveled off.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, honestly. I mean, it's slowed down. It's not as crazy, but it's definitely continuing to go. That's for sure. Yeah. Just so everybody that's watching, if you are Californian and come in Indiana, our average compared to her million is 252,000. So big difference, and I now know why I get all the retirees.
Right. I have a few houses.
I do. Yeah. So that gets you about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, plus or minus a little bit. You get a yard, probably 0.4, 0.3 acre. Some are larger because it's not all, there is land in our area. That's probably one big difference is you can get 10 acres, 15 acres, 20 acres with a homestead on it. So, that's probably another thing, depending on if you're wanting to get more into that kind of lifestyle as well. If you live in California, you got those both options, depending on who you are and why you're coming here. So quite a bit different. That is actually crazy. And like your 2 million is probably our 600,000. If I had to guess, we don't sell a lot of $1 million homes here.
Yeah.
We just don't. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're not here. Yes, they are
Right.
here, but it's 5%, maybe,
Oh,
4%.
yeah.
So I don't know exactly. I'm just saying it is a lot lower than the rest. So,
Right. And I
so
think
that's an interesting thing. What about rent? Rent might be a good topic.
for San Diego County, the I just looked it up. The average rent for a one bedroom is $2,800 a month. These are apartments, and then a two bedroom is a little bit over $3,600. I know that, like I said, all parts of San Diego County are completely different. But for my zip code, houses and condos combined, I look this up every week and send it out in my newsletter, $6,800 a month for those combined. So probably, maybe 4,500 to 5,000 for a condo. And then the houses, we have one around the corner from us. And granted, it was a large home. I think it's like 4,500 square feet, but rented for $12,000. So it's very expensive.
Yeah. So that is very expensive. Our rent on average in Indiana as a whole is $1,000 a month. That's the average. And it makes me think when you say like a condo, like I have a condo for sale for 180,000 to make my to go buy it. For all the rent you're paying, you could easily have that done,
right.
quickly. So yeah, I mean that just gives you that, and that's like a 1,700 square foot condo with that would be two bedrooms, two bath, but still, it's quite different. So interesting.
Just as a point of reference, so I have a condo coming on tomorrow on the market in Oceanside. It is right on the beach. It's a beautiful area. But Oceanside is the cheapest beach area that we have in San Diego until you get down closer to the Mexican border. It's two bedroom, two bath, a little over 1,000 square feet for 1.295.
Yeah, big difference. So, well, that's why we have different options and different places to go, right? So maybe someday I'll end up in California. I'll do the opposite.
There you go. I
have to move my whole business. Maybe I'll come work with you. Okay, the second thing about cost, let's just something consumer out there, like gas. Everybody loves to talk about gas prices. So, I mean, they do. It's just like, it's one of those topics. So gas, just to give you a comparison, just the consumer side of things, is about, I would say 280 to 3, like I looked outside, 309 for us today outside my office. What is your gas?
So driving into my office, I passed, I think, a Shell station or something. It was 520. And I know just flew out of San Diego airport maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was almost $7. So the closer you get to like an airport or touristy areas, it's higher. It was like 685 or something. So
I'm in a touristy area, so that's my 309.
I think it's fun to listen to people in other states talk about their gas when it's like $3. I'm like, oh my God, so crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about that. And obviously, your state taxes and all that are going to be different as well for each one. Yeah. So, what is the state tax, like your consumer tax for, like your sales tax, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sales tax is 7.75% in San Diego County.
Okay.
I think it's higher in Los Angeles County, and I'm pretty sure it's higher in San Francisco, but that's what it is here. What is it?
Yeah, well, we're not very different. We're 7%. The biggest difference is depending on if you like our touristy areas, you're going to get a bigger tax on like the lodging and things like that.
Yeah,
add on it too. So it's not as crazy different there. So it's just something to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, the next topic. Anything else that we should talk about? You think the consumers would care about?
On housing, I think the one good thing that we do have going for us is our property tax rate. So it's 1% of your purchase price. So if you purchased your home a million years ago and it was $100,000, it's 1% of that. And it doesn't go up every year. So it can go up as much as 2% per year, but it doesn't. Like we've never had our property taxes increased. So that's kind of nice. So like for us, we'll be able to, if for the next house, we'll be able to transfer our property taxes because we're over 55. So that's nice too. We wouldn't have the, if we got into a more expensive home, we wouldn't have the higher property taxes. We do have, I don't know if you guys have this tax called Melrose
No, we don't.
or something like that. So in the newer areas, there's a Melrose tax. So you could have an HOA, which on a house is going to be $100 to $400 a month. And then the Melrose tax is a tax that was supposed to be put on the builder for if they had to build a new fire department or a school or streets or street lights or whatever, but the builder ended up putting it back on the consumer. So that can be a 20 to 40-year tax. So where we live in our neighborhood, there's no expiration date on it. It's just an ongoing tax, and we pay for San Marcos High School and all this other stuff that was built because the area was exploding. And I think our Melrose is like $350 a month. So it's just another tax on top of your property taxes. But it does depend on the area. The older homes don't have it.
Okay.
So it's mostly the homes that were built, I'd say, in the last like 20 to 30 years.
That's interesting. No, not that I know of anything like that. I mean, maybe in Indianapolis area or so, but not down here for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're pretty basic. I mean, they have capping of taxes. I think the average is 1% or 0.81 or something like that, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But they have been rising in certain areas, especially that big jump since COVID.
Right.
A lot of taxes have seen it. So, and obviously if businesses are helping pay taxes in counties, that changes things that they pull out and all that good stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay. So on to politics. Let's talk politics.
Okay.
So I have a question because I get this every single time someone moves here. And when I ask them one thing that they don't like, and I don't know if it's politics but related, but they talk about how bad the homeless has got. And when I think California, and I don't go to California all the time, I don't envision homeless. Like, I just don't get that. So maybe you can enlighten me.
Oh yes, I can.
You can enlighten me.
So I would say before COVID, San Diego, I feel like the city downtown San Diego had it fairly under control. It wasn't, I mean, there was a lot of homeless people, but it wasn't a crazy explosion. But for whatever reason, during and after COVID, it just absolutely exploded. I mean, there are sections of San Diego now that are just blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks of tents. And it didn't used to be like that.
Oh, wow.
There's another area right off of the 5 freeway to the east of downtown where the city, I guess, or us, the taxpayers, have paid for thousands of tents, and there's just tents in an empty field, and so they're not, in my opinion, they're not trying to solve it at all. They're just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
My real estate company, actually, we are big supporters of Solutions for Change, which is an organization out of Vista that actually makes a difference with the homeless population. So they take people in that are homeless and drug addicted. They have to be those two things. They hold them to a high level of sobriety, which our state does not do. And then they put them through this 700-day program, teaching them, with drug testing every week, teaching them a new trade, giving them a job. They're not prisoners or whatever, but they save $5,000 while they're there. And then they go out into the community. So they're learning how to get out of that cycle or the churn, as they call it. And they're not subsidized by the state of California because they hold their people accountable for sobriety, which is crazy.
That's really great, though. I mean, I
feel like this is the solution right here, right? But for whatever reason, our state doesn't want to go that route, because I know, like in San Francisco, there was a big thing up there where they're giving people needles and they're giving people alcohol and they're trying to make them comfortable in their state. And it's like, we have to get them out of this state.
Yeah.
Or institute something again. I don't know. It's crazy, but it's gotten pretty bad. And I know even in Carlsbad and Encinitas in this area, we never had any homeless people. And now we're starting to get.
Well, and your weather probably doesn't hurt either. Like,
right.
That is going to attract that over where we live. I mean, yes, the
Definitely.
summer is great, but it's going to be a harder winter on you to be living
Right.
outside. But there is homeless. Don't get me wrong. You get into downtown Evansville, you're going to see pockets, but I don't
Right.
think I've ever seen a tent.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
I see home. I mean, you can tell there's homeless, but they're under underpasses or
Yeah.
wherever it's warm, they're trying to find it. But I
Yeah.
see very few compared to the magnitude of what you're trying to say. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel for these people, I don't want to see people not have a home and to be in this situation, but I feel like our state is not doing anything to correct it. They're just band-aiding everything, and there's so much money being spent on it, and it's like, where's it going? So I think that's a frustrating thing for people with this state, is that we feel like we're taxed to death, and then where's the money going? Because we have so many potholes. I mean, we have no weather here to speak of, right? It rains a few times a year and that's it. But so many potholes. Where's all this extra gas tax money going?
Yeah.
It's not going to fix the roads.
So that's another political issue, is just all your taxes and where's the money actually being used.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying Indiana's terrific at that, but honestly, I mean, for the taxes we pay, I mean, yes, our roads, I mean, they do a pretty good job. If anything, we do roads all the time here. I'm like, they're always working on the roads. And I'm like, why are we always working on our roads? So, but in general, I think that Indiana does a pretty good job with our money. I'm not saying any government's perfect. They aren't.
Exactly.
But I think that a lot of that kind of stuff, infrastructure things we're paying our money in for, I do see that they're trying to use it and make things better. So for that perspective, I think is probably a difference. What would else? I mean, that's the biggest political thing that people ask me, is really the taxes. Where is it going? And then the homeless is out of control. I don't know what other things. I'm not a huge political person. I'm not going to dwell on it. I don't know if there's anything in that scope of things that may be missing that we could bring up for people that are looking at leaving California to compare.
I would say the school systems. I mean, I'm
good point.
Our kids are in their 30s, so but just things that I hear that they're being taught, and I wouldn't put my kid in a school here, a public school. I mean, there a lot of people are homeschooling now. There's a lot of charter schools, a lot of private schools. So I'm hoping that that's going to get better. But those are just kind of things that I hear that parents don't appreciate, what their kids are being taught, at a really young age. In some of it's not all the school districts.
Is it more liberal being taught? Is that where you're coming from? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're a very conservative state. So.
Yeah, and it's kind
not
of
to say they don't get liberal education in our area, but our schools are actually pretty decent. I mean, there's pockets like everywhere that, yes, they're not a great schools, but we do have some really good schools that are public.
Yeah. And we do too, like Carlsbad and San Marcos are rated like 9 out of 10, and Encinitas schools are really good. It just depends on as far as ratings go, it depends on what pocket of San Diego you're in, because like I said, they're all wildly different areas and income levels and all of that stuff. So
well, very good. So schools, that could be if you're a family and you're leaving because you're done with the schools, maybe you don't have time to homeschool, or even the money to afford private. We might be an option. You could come here and have good schools, but we have good private too, which is probably a lot more affordable than your private, if I had to guess. So something else to think about. So if you're family and you're relocating, that's something to compare between us as well. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay, the next thing people are moving for, what would you say?
A lot of people are getting job transfers, so that is what it is. I would just say, in any of these cases, the thing that I'm learning from this Leaving California group, like if I ever decided to leave, I would not sell my house here. And I know that sounds contradictory for a realtor to say that, right? But if you keep your house here, rent it out or whatever you're going to do, and then when you move to your new place, make sure that you really like it. Because I can't even tell you how many people I know personally, and then how many clients come to me and they're like, we left California, we went to, Arizona, Idaho, Florida, wherever, and then some of them come right back like a couple months later.
Oh,
And
wow. Quick.
back, a year or two later. But when you do that, our prices are still going up.
Yeah.
So maybe you left an amazing house that you loved here. I've had this happen with a couple clients, and then they try to come back and they're like, oh my God, this is how much we have to pay for a house now. This is crazy. And then they're getting back into a house that they really don't want to be in, but it's all that they can afford at that point. So I think it's super important, for whatever reason you're leaving, is to do your homework and try to go to that area, like where you guys are. Like, you probably have a few months of really cold, wintry weather, and if we're not used to that, right? I would go back during that time for weeks.
Like people have Florida homes here, usually not California, but very similar. I call them the snowbirds. During snow time, they're down south, but they could just go to California back there and have best of both worlds, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, really do your homework, because you just don't know what you're getting into when you go somewhere for a week.
And that's people that are choosing to move, maybe not so much about relocation, but just on their own, right. Maybe retirees, especially in that scenario, or they work from home. Is there a lot of people that relocate out that that are, remote workers, that they can work out of their house?
Yeah, a lot of people. So I think there's still a lot of that going on, which was caused by COVID, and people can just work out of their house so they can live wherever they want. But yeah,
do you feel like they're coming in more for that than out for the remote?
I think the statistics are, we're losing more people than we're gaining. But I think I looked at, we lost like 700,000 people, but then like 460,000 came in or something. So it is kind of an interesting thing when people are like, oh, how many buyers do you have and where are they coming from? And I'm like, oh, they're coming from Tennessee, or they're coming from Florida. And they're like, what? It just depends on what your attitude is about California, right? Yeah. I lived here, I don't know, 40 years or whatever. And I love it here. Am I happy with the politics? No. Am I happy with the housing prices? Some days I am, because I bought a house right before COVID. So our house more than doubled. So that's amazing, right? But do I feel good about, our kids can't afford a house in a nice area, and just a lot of people in general. We have a lot of military here. Yeah. It's really hard for them to get into a house that's not just trashed, and they have to fix it up, or they're a family having to go into a 2-bedroom condo. I've had a lot of that, where there's like a family with 2 kids and they're going into a 2-bedroom condo because they can't afford anything else. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
You have to sacrifice for different things if you want to stay there.
Right. Right. So. The weather's amazing. I mean, that would be the big thing for me, the weather.
Well, let's talk about weather. That is a difference between us.
Yeah.
You have great weather. Everybody, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, what is your weather all year round? I mean, where you're at?
So where I'm at, I live about 4 miles from the beach in Carlsbad. So winter here, the coldest it's going to get is 50 during the day. I think today it's going to be like almost 70, and people still have winter jackets on, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. And then in the summer here, it doesn't get over 85. I mean,
so it doesn't change tons.
Yeah, you don't have to use your air conditioner really, unless you want to. Like at night, it's, sometimes it's a little stuffy, but it's pretty mild all year round. Now, if you go like an hour from here, or even a half hour inland, it's 100 in the summer. It gets
so it is a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets hot.
Well, so we're all over the board. I mean, we do have our 4 seasons, which is one thing I do love about our area. But like today, we're 38 degrees. It's freezing, and usually that's not cold, but there's a chill of wind with it or something. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely freezing. And if you go back to January and February for us, I mean, we had a really hot day, like hot, compared to what it had been, maybe, I don't know, 40s or 50s. So it was hot compared to it because it had been cold. And then literally we went to full rain all day. And then literally I went to bed and I got up and we had snow on the ground.
All 4 seasons.
You don't know what you're going to get in Indiana during the winter. So it just gives you an idea that,
Yeah.
Mother Nature can't make up their mind here, I guess.
Right.
So
Right.
now our summers are really humid. That's probably one big difference too. I mean, it's never going to get 100, but with the humidity index, it could. So like we're more in those 90s, but with humidity index, it'll take it over that. Feels like,
Right.
100 and some, but you're just wet. You sweat because of all the humidity. It's just a completely different feel if you're not used to that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not like that here. And I think another thing that goes along with humidity is bugs, right? We don't have,
Yes, we have bugs.
yeah, no bugs. So, I mean, you'll see ants once in a while and you'll see a random fly, which is kind of funny because I'm from upstate New York. So I'm used to that humidity
Yeah.
and bugs and the mosquitoes, and you just don't have that here. So that's another thing to think about if you're going to move.
Yeah,
somewhere.
if you're coming to my area, you're gonna have bugs, you're gonna have humidity, and you're gonna have Mother Nature doesn't know what they want.
Right.
But you do have 4 seasons. That's my positive. So
Nice.
if you love that fall, you love the winter, you just love that variation. We do have it. Spring and fall are absolutely my favorite. So
That's awesome.
It's just a really nice time to be here. We're going into spring. It's just taking a little while to get there. So
exactly.
So we've gotten into weather, which is basically a difference, and we talked about jobs, people that relocate for family. That's probably the retirees, wouldn't you think? That migrant move.
Yeah.
When they want to get back to family, it's because they're probably at the retiree stage. Their kids maybe have moved out to wherever, Midwest or somewhere else, because they can afford it or they have jobs.
Yeah.
The kids are coming, so the grandchildren are pulling them, like they want to be near them. So it's probably a good mix of all of that. Or they're from the Midwest or Florida or Texas.
Right.
Went to California and now they're going back.
Yeah, exactly.
I do see that as well. So, which is, nice to see from our standpoint. I always love when I see people that have been gone for a long time come back home. But it's still a change for them. Yeah. For sure. So have we missed anything? What do you think people would want to know the differences between us? I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the weather's big. The things that keep us here, honestly, are the weather, the restaurants, right?
Oh, food. We didn't talk about food.
Yeah, food is
kill us on food. Like Midwest fried chicken. I mean, they got all kinds of great stuff. Indianapolis will have good food. Don't get me wrong, but still not to the variation of what you get. I'm
right.
Sure.
I feel like we have a wide variety of food here. My husband and I are both vegan. There's a ton of vegan restaurants here, vegan fast food, casual dining, upscale dining. I was just back in upstate New York a couple weeks ago and I ate salad every day. It's like, there's no choices, right? There's no vegan food. I can't even get like soy milk in my latte or whatever. It was very, very eye-opening and interesting. I mean, even though I'm from upstate New York, it's like every time I go back there, I'm just reminded like how good our food is here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you come here, you would have a hard time in the restaurants as being vegan. You'd be eating salads is what you'd be eating here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's not pockets of something, but it's maybe one or two that's focused on it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So food, you definitely win on the food front. And for people that are really used to that, I tell them, I warn them, I mean, yes, we have pockets of decent food, but just not the variety, or you just got to become a very good chef when you get here.
Well, it's probably better for you anyway.
Yeah, that's probably true. So you got weather and food. What else keeps you there?
There's a lot to do here. A lot. It's a very touristy town, and there's lots of free stuff you can do or close to free, great hiking, great scenery, just so many touristy things. So there's no reason to ever be bored here. There's just anything you want to do is here. And then you've got, from where we are, you're about an hour from skiing, an hour from the mountains, you're on top of the beach, we're less than an hour to Mexico if you want to go across the border, or you can fly to Mexico, like Cabo and those areas, are very, very short flights. San Diego International Airport, it's under construction right now, so it's not as easy to get around, but it's a very easy airport to get in and out of for everything, just domestically or internationally. There's not a lot of big, long lines. lots of flights. Flights are fairly reasonable. Traffic kind of sucks here every once in a while.
Well, there you go. Traffic is not a big deal here. We may
Yeah.
have crazy drivers, but our traffic is nothing like yours, probably. So that's another good thing to comment.
Like even from here, like if you go to here to Orange County to Los Angeles, the traffic up there is horrendous. So it's not that bad here compared to there, but it is. You got to kind of work around it. Another thing I love about here, because I was raised in upstate New York, during the summer, we would plan things and then it would rain like crazy, just pour, thunder and lightning, and like ruin your whole day as a kid, right? It just doesn't rain here in the summer. Yeah. It's just a fluke if it rains in the summer. And even in the winter, I think we've only had maybe, not even 7 days of rain all winter. And that's the only weather that we get, really.
Yeah. So that's probably the difference. We do get a lot. I mean, right now is our rain. We've been getting a lot of the rain right now. We're the spring. It does truly come in the spring. So, well, very good. I think we did a very good comparison of the different areas. I think food wins, weather wins. For you, I win on cost, right? I think I also win on traffic.
Yeah.
What else did we? Politics? That's up to everybody's opinion, right? We're not going to give an opinion on politics. You choose which side you want. I think we're 50-50, roughly, whatever. It was a good conversation. I think if anybody is deciding what they're doing or if they're leaving, and you're coming to Indiana, Kentucky, because we're not much different. We're good old Midwest. You get a good idea of what you'll get here when you come versus where you're at right now if you're living in California. So definitely. I appreciate it very much for doing this. What do we call it? It's not a podcast, but our YouTube video or whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah, exactly.
So reach out. Why don't you give them your number just so if they are watching this and they're in California and need help selling or coming?
That would be great. So my number is 760-917-1174. And you can reach me on any of the social media platforms, just under Cherie Harrington, Cherie Harrington. And I'm in San Diego County. I service all of San Diego County, the south part of Riverside County, which is like Temecula, Canyon Lake, and then southern Orange County, San Clemente, Mission Viejo, those areas. Everything's about within an hour radius, which is nice.
And I'm reachable by, if you're coming to Indiana or Kentucky, I can help you there. 812-686-3268 is probably the best way to reach me. And I'm all over social as well. You can't miss either one of us, really. And if you just reach out to either one, we'd love to help you. As much as we love to do these videos, right? We do love selling real estate. So
yeah, we do.
We're out here trying to help you at least make decisions, and any information we can provide is what our goal is. So we appreciate everybody watching. So thanks everyone.
Thanks so much.